Hey everyone! Today we'll guide you through the process of hardware maintenance and repair, specifically on RAM and hard drive parts, and also assembling a computer. By the end of this video, you should be able to replace your RAM and your HDD and know how to assemble a PC properly. Let's begin. Before we get started, always remember to power off your PC and unplug it from the wall outlet. It's important not to receive any electric shock when handling your PC parts. You can use an anti-static wrist strap like this one that we have to discharge any electricity from your body to the ground. This will prevent you from damaging the sensitive components in your PC. Now let's open up the PC case. To do so, you lines first need to remove the screws at the back of the case that hold the side panel in place. Once all the screws are removed, gently pry off the side panel. Be careful not to damage the panel or any of the components inside the case while doing this. We'll set the screws aside for later use when we're ready to close the case again. With the side panel removed, we can now access the components inside the PC case. The next step is to locate the RAM and the HDD. Typically, the RAM slots are located on the motherboard near the CPU socket. As you can see in this example, we have RAM slots available on our motherboard. The HDD, on the other hand, is installed in the hard drive bay. Some cases may have multiple bays, but in this example, we only have one. Alright, so now we're going to remove the old RAM. To remove the RAM, first make sure that the system is powered off and all the cables have been disconnected. Next, gently press down the clips on either side of the RAM slot. These clips will turn slightly and allow the RAM stick to be pulled out of the slot. Hold the RAM stick by its edges and lift it straight out of the slot. Don't touch the gold contacts on the RAM stick, as this could damage it. Once removed, we can inspect the RAM and see if there is any dirt or debris on the contacts. If necessary, you can clean the contacts with a soft brush or compressed air. Now let's install the new RAM. Start by aligning the notch on the RAM stick with the RAM slot. Insert the RAM at an angle and apply even pressure until it's fully seated in the slot. You should hear a loud click as the RAM is secured in place. Ensure that the RAM is evenly seated on both sides of the slot. If the RAM is not installed correctly, it may not work properly or at all. You can also check the manufacturer's documentation for detailed instructions on how to install the RAM. Next up, we're going to remove the old hard drive. To do so, first locate the screws that secure the hard drive to the hard drive bay. Use a screwdriver to loosen and remove these screws. Once the screws are removed, disconnect the SATA data and power cables from the hard drive. Then slide the hard drive out of the bay. Now let's install the new hard drive. Slide the hard drive into the bay and secure it with the same screws that you removed earlier. Connect the SATA data and power cables to the hard drive. Make sure that the cables are securely connected. Otherwise, the hard drive won't work properly. Alright, so now we've replaced the RAM and the hard drive with the new ones. Let's double-check all the connections to make sure everything is in order. We want to ensure that the new RAM is properly installed in the slots and that the hard drive is securely connected to the cables and mounted in the bay. Once you're satisfied that all the connections are secure, it's time to reassemble the PC. Start by putting the side panel back onto the case and screw it in place using the screws that we set aside earlier. Now plug in the power cord and any other external cables. Gently place the top cover back onto the case and screw it in place. If your PC has a front panel connector, connect it at this time. Most cases will have a separate connector for the front panel that needs to be connected to the motherboard. Now we're ready to power on the PC. To do so, simply plug in the power cord into the back of the PC and then into the wall outlet. Once the PC is powered on, it is a good idea to enter the BIOS to check that the new RAM and hard drive are detected and working properly. To enter the BIOS, restart the PC and repeatedly press the F1, F2, or delete key. The specific key may vary depending on the manufacturer of your motherboard. In the BIOS, you should see that the new RAM and hard drive are listed and recognized by the system. If everything looks good, we can proceed to test the system further. To test the RAM, open Task Manager and go to the Performance tab. Click on the Memory section and you should see that the new RAM is being detected and used by the system. You can also run a memory diagnostic tool such as Windows' built-in Windows Memory Diagnostic Tool or third-party tools like memtest 86 Plus to check for any errors. For the hard drive, you can use the This PC or My Computer icon on your desktop to check that the drive is accessible and working properly. You can also use a hard drive diagnostic tool, such as Crystal Disk Mark, to test the read and write speeds of the hard drive. We've successfully replaced the RAM and hard drive and assembled the PC. Replacing RAM and hard drive doesn't have to be complicated. With a little bit of knowledge and care, you can upgrade your PC's memory and storage without any issues. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more tech tips. Thanks for watching.